Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
Well, guys, as you probably know, California is effectively a one-party state. Democrats hold the governor's mansion, they hold 31 out of 40 state Senate seats, and they hold 56 out of 80 assembly seats. Whatever Democrats want in California, they can accomplish. And so it's with great interest that I've watched as many of those elected Democrats try to avoid doing something that they pretended to support, and which, by the way, their constituents overwhelmingly want. And that would be establishing a single-payer healthcare system in that state. So here is the very latest, and this news was breaking late last night. Unions, activists, and progressive politicians have been trying to pass single-payer healthcare for decades in California. The most recent attempt was back in 2017. That effort gained a lot of steam following Bernie's first presidential campaign. In fact, single-payer actually passed through the Senate in that state. But the health insurers, they had a key ally in Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon. They flooded his campaign coffers along with the coffers of the Democratic Party writ large with millions in campaign cash. And lo and behold, Speaker Rendon decided to not even bring single payer to the floor for a vote. No one would have to take a tough vote to show whether they sided with the people or with the corrupt corporate insurers. And the issue was very effectively killed for that moment. But the fight wasn't over. Single-payer advocates got another shot with then-candidate Gavin Newsom, who backed the effort in his successful run for governor. Newsom recognized that the issue was popular with voters, and he was jockeying for the endorsement of an influential nurses union. So during that campaign, Newsom was totally unequivocal. He even chided other politicians for their fake support of universal health care. He tweeted, "I am tired of politicians saying they support single-payer, but that it's too soon, too expensive, or someone else's problem." So here we are in 2022 after a pandemic that saw economic and health devastation, with California voters keenly interested in breaking away from this rapacious for-profit model that has had such devastating consequences for their state and for the country. And Newsom, well, he's no longer a candidate for office, he's governor. He's leader of the California Democratic Party. No one has more power over what that party backs and prioritizes and what ultimately happens in the state. So last week, a bill that would establish something called HealthCare, single payer, passed out of committee, sending it for a vote to the full state assembly. Newsom must be ecstatic, right? Delighted that a key campaign promise is one step closer to fruition, thrilled politically that he can deliver on a popular issue among California voters. Yeah, not so much. Whereas before, Newsom was tired of politicians making excuses for not backing single payer. Now he is one of those politicians making excuses for not backing single payer. When asked about this bill, he said, quote, "I've not had the opportunity to review that plan, and no one has presented it to me. I think that the ideal system is a single payer system. I've been consistent with that for well over a decade. The difference here is when you're in a position of responsibility, you've got to apply, you've got to manifest the ideal. This is hard work. It's one thing to say, it's another to do." Indeed, it is one thing to say and another to do. I will give you that one. And I'll give you one guess what happened between campaign Newsom throwing down for single payer and Governor Newsom getting all weak-kneed. Well, he got a whole raft of cash. Our partners over at the Daily Poster had this report. Health insurer Blue Shield of California has been forking over multi-million-dollar donations to Newsom to his pet causes and to the California Democratic Party. We're talking $99,000 direct to Newsom's campaigns, $2.7 million to the California Dems. That includes a $1 million gift to the state party just last summer. That was back when Newsom was fighting back a recall effort. $100K to Newsom's inaugural, $20 million to a Newsom-backed homeless housing project. Now, this money has already reaped great rewards for this insurer. We previously covered here how Newsom awarded Blue Shield a $15 million no-bid contract for vaccine distribution, in spite of the fact they had absolutely no relevant expertise in setting up vaccination sites or in administering vaccines. But Blue Shield, they're not the only ones who've been funneling cash to Newsom and the Dems in hopes that they will kill single payer. Anthem, United Health, they also have ponied up significant contributions. Now, by law in California, yesterday, Monday, the last day of the month, was the final day that the HealthCare bill could pass through the full House. Otherwise, the effort would once again die and have to be resurrected. So it all came down to a single dramatic vote in the state assembly. Who would live up to their promises? Who was bought off by the insurance schools? Would it have enough votes among the supermajority of Democrats to even get through? And at the very last minute, they did the absolute worst possible thing. Again, they killed the bill. It was the exact same ending as last time. once again, not only did the insurers and their millions win the day, but corrupt, bought and paid for politicians didn't even have to come out of hiding to register their no vote. And there is zero doubt here, by the way, that Newsom's lack of support helped doom the bill. I would be shocked if he wasn't twisting arms behind the scenes to keep the vote from coming to the floor, because ultimately, the lack of a vote benefits Newsom more than it benefits anyone else. Now, he doesn't have to display to the world his fealty to the insurers and contend with the possibility of an actual bill that's awaiting his signature. Now, I want you to really take this one in. Whatever you think of single payer, it is extremely popular in California. In fact, in Newsom's recall election, pollsters found that a Medicare for All type system was backed by likely voters by a margin of 60 to 34. And of course, among the Democratic base, the very people who regularly show up to elect these people and who kept Newsom in office, it's supported by 86% of voters. Not to mention, the moral and the financial case for single payer is really clear. And if you don't believe me, well, you could just ask Governor Newsom.
The fact is, we're already spending $367.5 billion a year on health care, according to UCLA, in this state, 70% of it borne by the taxpayers. A single-payer system drives down the cost of health care, drives down the cost of prescription drugs through economies of scale, and provides a more effective, efficient, and universal access for those that are uninsured. You still have 3 million people in the state of California without health insurance. And even through Color California, millions of others have seen double-digit increases over the course of the last few years in their premiums. Single payer is the way to go to reduce costs and provide comprehensive access.
What's more, if California did have a genuinely successful experiment with single payer, it'd be an unbelievably powerful force for persuading nervous Americans that it is a superior system to the current for-profit deathscape. It's one thing to say, hey, France managed to pull this thing off, and quite another to say, hey guys, look at the distant and foreign land of California. So to sum up, the people want single payer. They elected a supermajority of politicians who supposedly back single payer, and yet single payer is dead because money ultimately matters more than people. And yet, Democrats will act completely bewildered and blame the voters when they fail to show up for their next re-election campaign. Quite a democracy we've got here. And this is why we can't have nice things. Sagar, it is so demoralizing. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it, you get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.